If you've ever wondered what actually makes IB teaching different from teaching in any other setting, here's the honest version. Not the brochure, not the buzzwords, just the reality of how your role, your lesson, and your students' thinking change the moment you step into an IB classroom. Let me break down the key differences. Regarding expectations of teachers, the main shift is that teachers are expected to be much more than a content deliverer, in the same way that students are expected to be more than just passive recipients. In this sense, you are not just an expert standing at the front of the class, delivering content, expecting students to memorize that content and repeat it later when they do an exam. From the IB perspectives, teachers are much more than that. The role is far broader than that. We're actually educators. We are responsible for shaping our students' thinking, stimulating their curiosity, building their independence as learners, nurturing that intellectual resilience. So our responsibility as educators is not just deliver content, it is to guide students as they make sense of ideas and not just delivering those ideas or passing them on. Something that sets the IB apart is the expectation that subject content should be connected to the real world, to real issues, to real contexts. And with this, what we're doing is we are engaging students with questions and issues that matter. Regardless of the subject area, everything is positioned as part of a much wider picture. So we're not just covering content, we're creating meaning out of it, and we're expecting our students to be part of that process and to respond to that process as well. As you are constantly connecting your subject area to the world around us, this actually naturally encourages you to connect and collaborate with other departments. For instance, as a Spanish teacher working in the diploma program, I have collaborated with departments such as the music department on units on Cuban music, for instance, with the history department on the teaching of the Spanish Civil War, and also with the English department and the teaching of Spanish literature in translation. As part of the NYP program, I've also collaborated in beautiful projects where languages, dance, and drama, for instance, came together, and also a really exciting MasterChef experience where languages and food tech came together. This kind of collaborations, this interdisciplinarity is not just an add-on, is actually part of the DNA of the IB, and students see it how learning fits together, how the boundaries between subject areas become blurred, and teachers actually benefit from working as part of a wider intellectual community. When I think about assessment in the IB, I think about three really important aspects. First of all, assessment is part of the learning process. It's not viewed as something that happens separately. So it's integral to that learning process. Secondly, assessment tasks, especially summative assessment tasks, are connected to the real world, are connected to real contexts, and therefore they are relevant. And finally, what assessment does is to test and to require higher order thinking skills. And what does this mean? This means that students cannot just rely on memory recall to pass an exam. Instead, students in the IB are challenged to use their critical thinking to solve new problems, which is really exciting. For me, what makes teaching within the IB framework so personally and professionally rewarding is, first of all, the emphasis on international mindedness, on a global look. You turn education outwards. You make connections with the local community, with the world around you. And that creates students with a special sensitivity, with a special empathy, which will also have an impact on their attitudes to learning, on their curiosity, not just curiosity about academic content, but curiosity about the world around them. And that can only be positive. That's what, for me, makes IB teaching so different for teachers. A change in role, a shift in purpose, and a shift in the kind of thinking we expect from students. The emphasis on international mindedness, the connection with local communities, the altruistic side of things feels to me extremely rewarding and can also change the way you feel about teaching. If you found this video useful, please click like. There's also a document you can download to help you explore this topic further. And please subscribe to the channel for more updates and content that is coming soon.